Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And this morning's topic is accomplishment. But before we get started, let's just take a minute to settle in and get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And just imagine that oxygen flowing through your cells and your blood and throughout your body and enlivening you and waking you up and just filling you with vitality and life. And exhale any tension and any restriction in your body. And then let's take another deep breath in through your nose. Hold it and imagine that this time it's light energy just coursing through you and beyond you and connecting you with the world outside yourself, inside and outside. And exhale any tension, any resistance. And now let's just gently place our palms together and softly rub your fingers against your palms to feel that tingling and tickling sensation in your fingers and in your palms, and to become present to how really lovely and delicious it is to be physical and to be in this body right here, right now. And welcome. So, today we're going to talk about accomplishment. And I've spoken on a number of occasions about being a human being versus a human doing. But when we think about accomplishment, we can think of it in multiple ways. One is, and I think this is the rewarding way to be thinking about it, is the sense of accomplishment, the experience of being, of accomplishing something that brings you joy, that brings you vitality, that brings you uh, a sense of exhilaration for having accomplished something. And the thing about accomplishments is that so often we do things that are wonderful accomplishments, but we never allow ourselves the joy and the experience of our achievement, of the feeling of triumph or reward or pleasure that is around having accomplished what we've done. And so I'm wanting to bring forward the question, is accomplishment in the world, like an achievement, really the end goal, or is it the feeling of the achievement? Because if we do all these accomplishments and we don't have the feeling of achievement or of accomplishment, then we're missing out on the richness of what's available, and we just keep doing and doing and doing and never really receiving the experience of life, the experience of incorporating that triumph or that accomplishment or that achievement within ourselves. Good morning, Dido. I'm so glad you're here. So here's the thing. I know lots of people, and I can count myself among them, who have done some really remarkable things. I mean, most people have done something that's really remarkable. And what I noticed for myself in the past is that I wouldn't allow myself the celebration of the accomplishment. It was always like, okay, I got that done. Working toward a goal, doing the thing, and the process of doing the thing gets wasted in stress or tension or denial or suffering or any number of other kinds of dynamics that forestall the satisfaction until the achievement of the end goal. But when the end goal is accomplished, the satisfaction is never lived. And uh, that that way of living life puts us straight in the category of being a human doing rather than a human being. And what happens is that we miss the experience of our lives and we choose to minimize so much of what life is really about. Life is about living. And when we allow life to be about living, we get to bask in the process of it and enjoy the path to the goal. The goal becomes the byproduct. And I've said this again and again, but it needs like a constant confirmation because we're so conditioned to valuing ourselves and each other based on what we do in the world, what we accomplish in the world. And the thing is that so many of our accomplishments, if looked at in a grander scale in terms of the things that we do or the things that we produce, in terms of a much larger perspective and a broader scale of living, what truly do they mean? I mean, even if we do things that have an impact with other people and on other people's lives, the things that make the grandest impact are the ways that we relate to one another, the presence that we bring in life, the connection that we cultivate. People won't remember necessarily what you did, they'll remember how you made them feel. And I think we can, if we apply that to ourselves in terms of our accomplishments, we don't, they can be a litany of things we've done in the world, but for the most part, the relationships that we have, the joy that we bring, the experience of vitality in life itself is where the richness of life resides. And if we're moving toward a vision and a goal, and we're utterly, completely miserable on our way there, but we achieve the goal, what price is that a worthy price for the achievement? What if we could just as readily, and actually it takes more presence, more clarity, more awareness to moderate the process, the experience of life on the way to the achievement, that then the process itself becomes an achievement. The process itself becomes something that gives us that sense of enrichment and fulfillment and joy and vitality. And we get to choose as a culture, as individuals, to embrace life for the living of it, rather than putting off life until we get to a certain level of achievement or a certain level of status or a certain place of comfort, or this climbing, this endless climbing of a ladder is really truly insanity if we look at life from a grander perspective. If we can just sort of step up our view from a higher place and look at what's really important. And as a culture, we've so conditioned ourselves to suffer and struggle to achieve something, to deny ourselves life and joy and fulfillment on the way to something, because the only thing that happens is getting to that place, and then I'll have the experience of life and love and connection. And when I have this, when I've gotten to that place, and life is what happens on the way there. Life is what happens while we're planning and denying ourselves. You know, so many people work themselves crazy at the expense of their family relationships, at the expense of their health. You know, I'm going to push, push, push. And then when I get to the end of this goal or whatever it is, then I'll relax. Then I'll take care of myself. Well, we don't get to wait. This is the shift of paradigm that we're really called to make right here, right now. And as we value our own lives and the quality of our lives and the quality of uh, our beingness as we're uh, in the process of manifesting our dreams. I was going to say in pursuit of our dreams. And that's the thing, is like in hot pursuit, everything else goes by the wayside and I'm just focused on the goal and nothing else matters. And if that's the case, I really invite you to revisit the value of the goal, to really look at what cost a goal can be. And it doesn't have to be a choice between having joy and having a goal. I believe that it's possible to be having both. And rather than a goal, what about an intention? So, as I am learning to play piano, my objective in learning to play piano is not just to be able to play a certain piece of music. My goal in learning the piano is to enjoy and understand and steep myself in the process so that I have an enriching experience along the way. Because the truth is, and this is something that we've learned through COVID, more keenly than perhaps we were present to before, is our lives are not guaranteed. We're here right now, and we don't know that we're how long we're going to be here. And as a civilization, we don't know how long we're going to be here unless we really turn things around in a big way, in as relating to the way that we interface with our mother planet Earth. And so as we become more present to the experience of living, we become more present to the preciousness of life. And as we become more present to the preciousness of life, we get to be more reverent in the way we treat ourselves, each other, and our planet. So this all came from a conversation around achievement and accomplishment. And I invite you to look at maybe redefining the notion of achievement and accomplishment to focus more directly on experiencing our experiences. So it would be an accomplishment to be able to be present to the process of living instead of just focused on measurable outcomes. Um, However, we can even look at our own experience as a measurable outcome where we can say, you know what, I was much more at peace today. And in being in peace today, I measure that by the amount of stress that I feel in my body. And as an outcome, that's a profound outcome. Why? Because when I'm more at peace, it impacts my relationships and my communications with others. When I'm at peace, it impacts my physiology and brings me to a greater state of healthfulness. When I'm at peace, I'm able to make better, more measured, more balanced decisions. And we can go on and on from there. So as uh, as we look at the notion of achievement and accomplishment, what if we were to start redefining those achievements as and accomplishments as process based rather than outcome based? And the process based things are mindfulness, peacefulness, joy, presence, connection. Those are process based awarenesses or things to measure if you must measure. Whereas instead of a book or a being playing a musical piece, because the book and the musical piece, for example, are feedback. They are byproducts of the presence in this context, rather than all of the things that we're talking about in presence become sacrificed in the name of the outcome. So it's sort of switching things around to value what's really truly important in terms of quality of life. And I believe we've been so deeply culturally conditioned to devalue the quality of our lives in favor of the output. And that drive toward output is what has made our culture and our world so insanely imbalanced, because the output focus is more, 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 more is better, more is best, versus allowing the output to come through a movement of inspiration and as an expression of a presence and of a process. So I'm just going to check and see what Dido has to say. Yes, so measurable outcomes that are about how you feel, presence, joy, connection, peacefulness. Love it. Like you say, we usually measure things we have got done. Exactly. And so we're measuring and judging ourselves based on outward manifestation. So by what, and we even communicate this in our conversations with one another. What did you do today? What did you do today? Instead of how was your day? In other words, how were you being? What was your experience of the day versus what is your output for the day? And like I said, when we are able to move to the notion of output as byproduct or output as feedback, then we will be living much, much richer lives when we focus on our process and experience of living. So as we find joyfulness, as we find inspiration, the common notion in our culture is that we would become complacent and we would not be producing as much, and productivity would fall, and heaven forbid we produce less. But the truth that I have been witnessing in my clients and in myself is that when I am more connected, when I am more balanced, when I am allowing myself to have the experience of living, I am much more productive. And beyond that, and more importantly, I'm more joyful and I'm healthier and I am I'm a better person. I'm better able to connect and love uh, and be in the world than when I am pressuring myself to do the production. And I actually am, when it comes down to it, more productive. So Dido says this is sustainable living. Exactly, exactly, because the way that we have been enculturated to just do endlessly, it leads people to burnout. I mean, everybody's familiar with the feeling of burnout and just feeling completely depleted from this doingness that we believe ourselves to be. And Dido says, there's so many ways in which your focus on a sustainable environment ties in with sustainable generative living. Yes, it does. So if you don't know already, I have a podcast called Sustainability Now with my co-founder, Scott Billy, and we're all about mainstreaming sustainable practices globally. And the very foundation, in my belief, of sustainability is the transformation of life from product to process. Because as we start being more present to living, it gives us a deeper reverence for everything that is here on the planet, ourselves, each other, and nature. And we then, as we take time to smell the flowers, we get to appreciate the flowers and how important they are. And so thank you for making that correlation, Dido. It's absolutely 100% true. So, and in fact, I'm really glad you prompted me to bring up sustainability now, because we have Thursday night hangouts and it is Thursday. So I'm inviting you to join us this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We are showing a film called Groundswell Rising, and the producer of the film, as well as one of the people that was interviewed in the film, are going to be present with us for Q&A after we show it. It's about fracking, and it's going to be a great evening. Last week we had people from 5 continents joining us, so that was amazing. I mean, it was 2 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning in some of these other places where people were calling in from, and it was just awesome. We had a great conversation. So, in order to join us, check out our Facebook page, Sustainability Now, and there's sort of a blue and green yin yang sign that says Sustainability Now around it for our logo. And you should be able to see a link to register. You need to register because that helps protect us from Zoom bombers that are just trying to disrupt the evening. So join us. It would be great to have you, and we get to look at how we get to take better care of our planet and one another. So I think I'm going to wrap up with that. We're talking today about accomplishment and achievement, and that the experience of the achievement is what we're really looking to have, rather than a litany of all kinds of what we've done in the world. If what we've done in the world is moving from inspiration, that's a wonderful thing. If what we've done in the world is all about the doingness at the expense of our lives, I invite you to question that, because what we want to do is model a new way of being in the world and with each other that is truly sustainable at its core. So this is the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin, and I'm here every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, here on Enlightened World Network, which has remarkable, extraordinary, wonderful programming that I invite you to check out. And I want to thank you so, so much for being with me and joining joining in these meandering and hopefully somewhat inspiring conversations. And I look forward to having you back again with me soon. Take care. Thank you. Oh, you're so welcome, Hope Wellington Marshall. Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.